Hi,
Hey,
Phil. Tomorrow you got a Northwestern team that beat Illinois, went on the road and beat Indiana. I guess what particular challenges do they present?
also went on the road and rolled over Indiana. Um, their age and experience, their their uh, their guards are extraordinary. Boo Buie and Chase Audige, uh, both taking more than 15 shots a game, averaging somewhere in the vicinity of 33 or 34 points. Then Ty Burry as a shooter. They're very, very well organized. They run an awful lot of offensive plays and patterns. And then the other side of the ball, they're switching 1 through 4, and they switch up into you, which has given us some problems when other teams have switched that hard against us. It's a good team, good team. And you make a great point, by the way, about like winning on the road in this league. Look around, and you know the road teams, road games are where winning streaks go to die.
Hey, Phil, I guess just sticking with Northwestern, I guess some could label them as a surprise team so far. I guess have you been surprised by their success so far?
That's a really good question because we were having a discussion in our office about teams that surprise you, and I think anytime you lose a quality player like Peter Nance and a really terrific glue guy like Ryan Young, like they did, and to come out and you know they annihilated DePaul. Those 2 road wins, like they make you sit up and take notice. So, I would say it's a surprise with what they've lost, with Nance and Young being gone. Just a terrific performance being led by their guards.
And then you mentioned defensively how they switch 1 through 4. I mean, they rank in the top 10, 15 in several defensive categories. I guess just what are they doing at a higher level this season?
Switching. That sounds crazy, but that's what they're doing. They're switching so aggressively. And in conference play, they're averaging about 10 steals a game. And you are absolutely right, by the way. Points allowed, 2-point percentage defense, and overall field goal percentage. The way it was presented to our team was that they are a national level defense. And I think the primary thing to me is the switching. And a lot of people switch. Like anybody on here who's ever played basketball in the park or in the gym or the YMCA, you've all switched. These guys switch up into you. Very, very aggressive switching team. And they don't miss a beat. 1 through 4. Barron's at the 4. The young kid Brooks at the 4 who switches up. That to me is what sets them apart. Their aggressive switching.
Hey, Phil. And then if we could just, I mean, you've mentioned them a couple times, the guards, experienced guards and Bowie and Audige. How important is that in this league, and how much are they really sort of, I guess, facilitating this start?
Well, I don't think in college basketball you can win. You can't win consistently, and you can't put up big numbers in the winning column unless your guards are just absolutely positively elite. What stands out to me about the Northwestern guards is everybody out there knows that we have a thick playbook. Well, just -1 thick and you have Northwestern's playbook. You can only do that with your guards. And the other thing is, and I'm not knocking it, but they have a very tight rotation. So Roper, the young man from Michigan, he gets in at guard, and those kids play a lot of minutes. And in today's world, like I don't know how it became a big deal, but now we honor players by calling them two-way players. Well, isn't that what you were always supposed to do? Play offense and play defense, but we had to title something. Both of these kids, Boo Buie and Chase, are really, really, really physical, tough defenders, downhill players, 11 free throws between them. They're guards. And they're big time guards. And to me, last week is getting ready for Jalen Pickett and AJ Hoggard, and now it's getting ready for these two guys. And the age factor comes into me, and that's why they're able to perform on the road, because those guys are so old and experienced.
Hey, Phil, you mentioned one of Northwestern's key strengths being that aggressive switching. What are some ways that your team could combat and maybe exploit that style of play?
Well, we're going to have to be really, really, really sharp in our screening. If you think about an aggressive switch, that means they're coming up into their man. Well, if he's being guarded that closely, then you have to be able to get a solid, legitimate screen on him. And maybe nobody will notice, but the coaches will notice and your teammates will notice. And once you've set a screen, be ready to use a screen. But we have to be an outstanding, not an average. We have to be an outstanding screening team, because we know going back last week, Michigan State, we thought it, but we weren't dead certain. And we ended up spending the whole first half dribbling the ball a lot. We cannot be dribbling the ball here and think that that's going to be effective offense tomorrow against Northwestern.
Who's your best screener, would you say?
Well, if he could get his feet settled, Terrance Reed would be the best screener. Like, that was a calling card of his in summer basketball. And but here he has a tendency to move too much. He's probably been called for illegal screens 3 or 4 times. But in the starting lineup, right now, we don't have an elite screener. And that would be something that we would really look for from Terrance and from Will. Not so much Hunt. Hunt can get there and redirect you because of his size. But I would say Terrance Reed is the one.
Coach, you went big this week, and it seemed to work pretty well from my view with playing 2 bigs, and in particular, Terrance, I thought, did a good job on Murray. Might we see more of that going forward?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. You will see more. A little inside baseball. We came back from Europe, and was one of 2 or 3 things that Juwan really liked over there. We hadn't practiced it before we went over there, but he liked it, and we just haven't gotten kind of settled in. Still trying to figure out, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, still trying to figure out, well, where does Will Cheddar fit in as the backup 4? Still wanting Terrance Williams to get his game going, and trusting the things that he does with Hunter. So in practice, you want to have competitive practices. Terrance goes against Hunter. Now we're into like a more cerebral practice, so we have a chance to put Terrance with Hunter. And Terrance Reed has good feet. And I think the shock, as much as anything, got Murray. Like, you're putting a freshman big on me. Well, guess what, young fella? Look around. No one else has had any answers for stopping you. So it was planned. It wasn't a spur of the moment thing. It was planned to go that way against Iowa. And yes, it will be seen situationally going forward.
Thanks.
And like, speaking of situations, what are some ways that, what are some room of growth that you see in late game situations for your team? Room spaces for improvement, excuse me.
Well, I think at the defensive end of the floor, it's communication. That would be the same in the first minute of the game, but in the last minutes of the game, and then also that feel. You know what I mean? Like at some point, it's not a call. It's like, what do you feel? If you were playing pickup, what would you do in those particular situations? At the offensive end of the floor, it's more positive use of the dribble. That's probably the wrong word, but effective use of the dribble. We have to start getting by people to draw help so that we can kick the ball, whether it's to Hunter at the rim or to Terrance Williams on a trail or Jet or Joey. But I think more effective use of the dribble in late game situations for us will impact us positively offensively.
Phil, kind of going off of that, have you noticed the players, the late game struggles wearing on them at all? Because it's now been 4 or 5 games where some of the guys have said the same thing. You know, we feel like we were the better team. We had it, and you know, we let it slip away. That could be. I could see how that could possibly start to affect you, but I don't know.
You know, sometimes. I mean this respectfully. I think sometimes young guys like repeat stuff like they've read somewhere or they think, you know, to me, it's if we practice for an hour and 20 minutes, then you have to be sharp for an hour and 20 minutes. And if you play a game for 40 minutes, then you have to be sharp for 40 minutes. And if you really break down Iowa, it was, and again, not an excuse, just their execution on the 3 and the 4-point play were just extraordinary. And they were better than us on those 2 plays. So I don't see it being the wear and the tear. One of the things that I appreciate about this group is that losing gets to them. I mean, Andrew, you've been around that locker room after a loss. It's hard to get them going to the next thing. And maybe that's their age where they think, well, you know, the sky has fallen. Yeah, it does. It feels like the sky fell on us on Thursday night. But at some point, you got to like move past the rubble and lift yourself up. So I haven't sensed a woe is me in practice. I haven't sensed a woe is me. I don't sense it on the bench. You know, I'm trying to get it. I try to like be focused on what's our body language saying here. How are we responding to these particular moments? And you know, if it occurs tomorrow, it's about Northwestern. It's not like, well, geez, this happened in the Virginia game and that happened in the Kentucky game and this happened in. No, you know. I've always thought that losing teams can repeat all these facts. Well, we're so close. We lost 4 games by a total of 11 points. You ever hear a winning team saying, we're so lucky we won 4 games by 11 points? So to me, that entity, we weren't good enough on 3 or 4 possessions against Iowa. They were the better team in those entities. We have to do that now. And if Northwestern comes up and if we have a player that's out there going, but in Iowa, then we're sunk.
Thanks. That was very helpful.
Does anybody have anything else for Phil?
Yeah, I have one for Phil. You mentioned earlier that you guys want to get Terrance's game going. I guess just how do you get that to happen? I guess how do you pull more out of him?
Well, obviously you start by hugging him and talking to him, and he's so cerebral, and keep him up that we believe in him. And it's interesting because his teammates, I know, will address that. He's impacted winning his whole time. If it's paint pictures, you know, from Ohio State or Tennessee last year, then go ahead and do it. But we have to maintain confidence in him so that he can, and encourage him to maintain that confidence in himself. You just want good things for really good people.
I guess have you noticed moments of self-doubt with him, I guess, when you're saying those things?
Well, he's quiet, so it's not, I just have a special interest. I think that there are times when he doesn't have his pop. And so if he could just be T. Will, that's what we want. Not to be more than that.
And then I noticed at Iowa he had his shooting hand and wrist wrapped up. I guess was that something that happened in practice? I guess was he discomfort
in fact, it was like one of those cartoons. He got hit on a play, and then later on a play where we were literally walking through, he got hit in the exact same spot. And I don't know, I'm not medical enough to say to you, he hyperextended his, I don't know any of it, but it was, the day before in practice, he got banged up twice. Same spot.
Thanks.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, Coach, we appreciate your time. Good
Thank
luck
you.
tomorrow. We'll see you there.
Thank you for including me.